I do think that anti-capitalist sentiment is inherently anti-vegan.
Alright, so, has anybody heard about this one? The Unnatural Vegan. Has anybody heard of the Unnatural Vegan? Now, I don't usually talk about veganism on this channel. I try to keep it about socialism, anarchism, communism, and shit like that. But for me, veganism is deeply embedded into A, social justice within the society, and B, I see communism as a way of decommodifying animals as well as animalized humans, right? So veganism is something that's very important to me. So yeah, I do like to keep an eye on vegan YouTubers and shit like that, but look at this.
Hey guys, so I just want
This video is called "I'm a Capitalist Pig?" question mark. It frustrates me when I hear shit fucking takes like this. If any of you subscribe to the Unnatural Vegan, please unsubscribe. It's not the first reactionary take I've heard from her, and like I don't follow most of her shit. And if we look down, you can say like, okay, let's look, let's look. Terrible vegan turkey we ate at Christmas, or the best vegan news of 2020. So like a lot of it seems very like neutral and shit like that. But then you have every once in a while a video like this. Anti-capitalism is anti-vegan. Now, I did watch the whole video. I'm not going to watch it over here, but, like, I did want to watch a little bit. Oh, yeah, if you want to fucking follow a vegan leftist YouTuber, follow Mexi. And you can even check out some of my shit, actually. Anyways, we'll watch a little bit of this. Hopefully I don't get a fucking copyright strike. We're not going to watch too much, anyway.
I do think that anti-capitalist sentiment is inherently anti-vegan.
Anti-capitalist sentiment is inherently anti-vegan. That's the argument. Let's go. Yeah, Noel, it is bombarded in dislikes. I'm happy because this is one of the most shit takes I've ever seen. Anti-capitalism, in terms of veganism, anti-capitalism seeks to decommodify animals. We don't want to use them as products anymore. That is the crux of veganism, you know what I mean? And not every leftist is vegan. There's nothing inside of the definition of socialism that says you need to be vegan. Socialism is an economic system, while veganism is a stance that says we want to stop using animals as far as is practicable and possible, so that will change from place to place. So I do understand socialism and veganism, yes, they are technically two very different things, but when we're talking about the overarching social justice structures that should be influencing our socialist politic, and yeah, there's more to politics than just the economy. Me, I eat my fucking rice with a wrench. Don't worry about it. So yeah, so like this really fucking frustrated the shit out of me, and like I said, I only want to play like a small portion.
And I was asked if I considered myself neoliberal, and I said, yeah, I would consider myself neoliberal.
So yeah, I don't know who calls themselves neoliberal as if it's like a good thing or some shit, but let's continue.
And then I kind of gave a little bit more detail, expanded on that a bit in a follow-up Q&A, because the comments on the first one, people were kind of mad at me. It rained.
People are mad at you because you're fucking stupid. Please. See, she earlier talked about liking Ayn Rand growing up. So, like, this person is a reactionary. There's no doubt about it. And if anybody calls themselves a neoliberal or a classical liberal, like Peterson used to call himself a classical liberal, Sargon of Akkad used to call himself a classical liberal. Whenever people are calling themselves these, like, prefix and then liberal, you know you gotta be afraid. She sets up the argument saying that, oh, socialism is against exploitation and veganism is against exploitation, therefore veganism and socialism is the exact same thing. Now, I'm not going to engage with that argument because nobody makes that argument. So yeah, let's just continue a little bit
from
here.
people confusing neoliberalism and libertarianism, they're not the same thing, to kind of like you're dead to me type.
So the thing with neoliberalism is that it is very, very, very close to libertarianism. It is that laissez-faire capitalism, free markets, all that kind of shit, you know what I mean? Like, dude, Thatcher, Reagan, Pinochet, these were fascists. They could call themselves neoliberals all they want. These are fucking fascists.
So I wanted to address it, the kind of extreme anti-capitalist sentiment and how that relates to veganism. Shouldn't be controversial. For those
Why, you're a fucking idiot.
who don't know, neoliberal is like your typical left.
Okay, I just... Look at what she says here, people. Pay attention to what she says here.
Those who don't know, neoliberal is like your typical left-leaning social progressive, but also
Neoliberalism is your typical left-leaning social progressive. This person has no fucking idea what neoliberalism is, and it's clear as day. It's fucking clear as day. You see, like, Mont Pelerin society is libertarian, so there is a lot of overlap between, like, people who call themselves neoliberals, people who call themselves libertarian. So Unnatural Vegan is just being incredibly dishonest here, like,
wealth.
And I'm emotional now, so I don't want to say something fucking really stupid. Pinochet is you know that, like, basically what she's saying is that, like the Engelsist says right here, Reagan, Thatcher, Pinochet, socially progressive. This is what we consider socially progressive, but that's the point of this all, eh? It's to move the Overton window.
Welfare state, as libertarians would say. Neoliberals want a substantial safety net, often even supporting public options, like healthcare, for instance. Not all neoliberals do, of course.
Okay, so some neoliberals support public health care, and other neoliberals don't support public health care. What the fuck are you saying? I have no idea what you're saying. It's like, how can, in one ideology, in one cohesive ideology, how could you have half of them that believe in the public option for healthcare and half of them that don't? This is not a political philosophy, a real political philosophy that she's talking about. Neoliberals cut safety nets, didn't they? And yes, they do. And like, within how many minutes here? We're within a minute and 20 seconds, and she's already completely contradicted herself.
Look, conservatives often accuse neoliberals of being socialists because they accuse everyone of being socialist. Advocating for higher taxation, welfare, but ultimately the wealth in society that funds that welfare is.
Ken Key, perfect. I love this. Ken Key says the only thing cohesive about neolib is the grift. Yeah, I agree. And look, this video came out just yesterday and it already has 26,000 views. So it's not nothing, you know what I mean? Yeah, Noel, yeah, she's like the enlightened centrist, you know?
Generated by capitalist mechanisms. Same as the case in, what people call European socialism, which isn't really socialism by definition. Still relies on profit motive, still
I agree there.
Has private ownership, even if a few select industries are publicly owned. Communism being the goal.
Communism being the goal. Communism being the goal. Communism being the goal. Communism being the goal. Communism being the goal.
I'm going to focus on communism here. So why are neoliberals generally pro-free market and anti-communism? Is the question I want to answer. Philosophy, you can think up an ethical system in which it is wrong for one person to ever profit off the work of another person. You can call that exploitation.
It's not profiting off the work of somebody else, it's stealing the surplus value of their labor. Right? So it's theft.
But in order to put that into practice, you have to just not care about the consequences at all. You would have to ignore all of the times communism.
Well, okay. I'm just going to rewind this a little bit.
Consequences at all. You would have to ignore all of the times communism has been tried and all of the times it has failed, which is.
What about capitalism? Why does everybody talk about the failures of fucking communism, but nobody talks about the failures of like capitalism in Honduras or capitalism in fucking Guatemala or capitalism in any number of African countries? What about the failure of fucking capitalism in our own goddamn countries? Or colonialism, you know what I mean? This is cringe. This is really cringe, huh?
is every single time it's been tried, it has failed. It has caused...
I would like you to list every single time it was tried and every time it failed. Because that's a very big claim that you're making. What the fuck? She doesn't realize the poorer countries in the world right now aren't the communist ones. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, we're 3 minutes in and like, she's already been destroyed. She's already been destroyed. She lost us at neoliberal. Holy shit. It's
immeasurable suffering.
Okay,
and
now
death.
we gotta see this. Immeasurable suffering and death.
I care about consequences in terms of...
Okay, here's another thing that I don't give a shit about this fucking consequentialist bullshit, because, you know, you could talk about philosophy and you could talk about hypothetical situations and how, oh, in this hypothetical situation, I would take the way of less harm. If we fought for socialism and we established, you know, a socialist society, of course, not just an economically socialist society, but a truly socialist society that has emphasis on social justice. Because you don't just want to socialize the economy. You don't just want to break that class hierarchy. We want to break other hierarchies too. We want to bring everything down together. And yes, that includes the hierarchy between human and fucking animal. They are lives. Everyone who dies from COVID should be added to the capitalism death list, in my opinion. I agree, Noel. If she's a consequentialist, why isn't she a communist? You know, that's what I say. So, like, who's to blame if we wanna set up a socialist, or as has been shown in history, especially with Cuba, people who wanna, you know, countries who wanna set up socialist economy. What about the fucking United States, who puts embargoes, who literally goes to war? Is that counted in the harm? That if that is counted in the harm, then that's going to be on the capitalist side. Unnatural vegan.
Suffering. Most people care more about having a job, helping their family, than they do some abstract principle that says it's wrong for their bosses to make a profit off of their labor.
Okay. We're not saying that it's wrong for the bosses to make a profit off of their labor. We're saying that it's wrong and it's collectively exploitative when bosses steal the surplus value of your labor while you can barely make ends meet. That's violence. If you cared at all about harm, you'd be talking about these fucking kinds of things. But no. You know what? I will say it. All she fucking cares about is this, like, potential harm that could be done hypothetically to animals in the future. That's all she cares about. It's just some hypothetical bullshit. It's not real.
And I care more about what people want than I do deciding what people want for them.
People, look, what socialism wants to do is socialism wants to be able to give everybody an opportunity to be able to do the things that they love and be creative. So we say that everybody's needs should be met. Food, housing, you know, all of these things should be met so that people can actually be like, oh, okay, life is not all about just working 40 hours a week just to fucking feed my family. Life is actually about a lot more. Socialism would allow the creative individual to be able to come out. So this person is like, who am I? Who am I to say what they would want? Dude, people, yeah, they just want to fucking... Like, people just want to work. It's not because they want to go to work. It's because they have to work because they want to make sure that their fucking families are good. I think that people's families should be okay, and they should also be able to have the freedom to do the things that they love in life. It's bad. I'm very vitriolically, if that's even a word, I have anger of vitriol right now.
It's better for them based on some sort of cosmic justice. Injustice in and of itself is not harm. It's only harm.
Oh my god, she just said it. She just said injustice. Injustice is not harm.
What people want for them, or what I think is better for them based on some sort of cosmic justice. Injustice.
Okay, so she calls fucking communism some kind of cosmic justice. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then she says this.
Justice in and of itself is not harm. It's only
Injustice in and of itself is not harm. Therefore, certain injustices are okay. You know, Noel says consequentialist only to consequences that they face. You know what I mean? Like, this is fuck. Personally, I think that if we had a worldwide food production system that was not based off the exploitation of animals, A, we would be able to feed the entire world sustainably. B, we would have a cleaner environment. C, we would be a hell of a lot healthier. And D, God knows where we can go from there. God knows where we can go from there. And so what? Certain injustice is good, so we could exploit millions and millions of third world workers because it allows us to have fucking microwaves? Come on, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. This is ridiculous. When I talk about veganism, I just talk about solely as to say, look, as humans, let us look at other species and see them as other species, not separate from us. Not like the same thing like we do with racism here, dude. We like to see other humans as separate from us. And it's okay to do certain things to these people that you're not going to do to these people. Just like, oh, it's good to do these things to certain species but not other species. I pet my dog but I kill my pig. You know, so we do a lot of these fucked up things in society, and it's just to reconcile that, to understand it, because, you know, we've been being force-fed meat our entire lives, dude. Me, I'm Italian. I ate a fucking shit ton of meatballs. I ate a shit ton of cheese. It was my favorite fucking thing, you know. But at some point, I realized that those animals' lives are much more valuable than just my fucking taste buds.